In the quiet town of Millbrook, where ordinary lives played out like clockwork, a darkness lurked beneath the surface. This is the story of Harold Thorne, a 67-year-old man whose mundane existence took a sinister turn one autumn afternoon at Millbrook High's football field. It started innocently enough, or so it seemed. Harold, who lived alone in his colonial-style house, had taken to walking in the park adjacent to the high school. That's where he first saw her. Sarah Collins, a 17-year-old varsity cheerleader whose athleticism and vibrant energy caught his attention during practice. At first, he told himself he was just appreciating the athleticism, the way any sports enthusiast might. But soon, his casual observations evolved into something more disturbing. He began timing his walks to coincide with cheerleading practice, watching from behind his newspaper, his eyes following her every movement. The obsession grew quietly, like a shadow lengthening at dusk. Harold started noting Sarah's schedule, learning her routines, her habits. The first item he took was seemingly innocent, a water bottle she'd left behind after practice. He convinced himself it was harmless, that he'd return it, but he never did. Inside his house, a shrine was slowly forming. The water bottle became a treasured possession, one he would hold while watching TV, imagining conversations that would never happen. But it wasn't enough, never enough. One evening after the team had finished practice, Harold waited until the locker room was empty. His heart pounded as he slipped inside, the fluorescent lights humming overhead. There, in a forgotten gym bag, he found her sports bra, still damp with sweat from practice. Later that week, it was a cheerleading skirt, carelessly left on a bench. Each night, Harold would arrange these items on his bed, lying beside them, breathing in their fading scents. He'd imagine Sarah was there, talking to him, laughing at his jokes, seeing him as something more than just another face in the crowd. His rational mind knew it was wrong, but the compulsion was stronger than any moral compass. The police never connected the disappearing items to Harold. How could they? He was just the quiet old man who took walks in the park, who waved politely to neighbors, who attended church on Sundays. Nobody suspected that behind his ordinary facade lay an obsession that was growing more dangerous by the day. Sarah's parents eventually transferred her to another school, concerned about the strange occurrences and missing items. They never knew who was responsible, never imagined it was the harmless-looking elderly man who lived 3 streets away. And Harold? He kept his treasures, perfectly preserved in a cedar chest in his attic. The water bottle, the sports bra, the skirt, all arranged with careful precision. Even as the scents faded and the items gathered dust, his obsession remained intact, a perfect moment frozen in time. Years later, when Harold passed away, no one came to claim his belongings. The house was sold, and the cedar chest was carried away to a landfill, its contents undiscovered. His secret remained his own, a dark victory that followed him to the grave. Some say the most terrifying monsters aren't the ones that hide under beds or in closets, but the ones that hide in plain sight, behind pleasant smiles and ordinary lives. In the case of Harold Thorne, his seemingly harmless facade concealed an obsession that never saw justice, a darkness that remained unchecked until his final breath. In Millbrook, life continued as normal. Young cheerleaders still practice on that same field, unaware of the man who once watched from the shadows. But sometimes, when the evening grows quiet and the park empties, there's a lingering sense of unease, a reminder that not all stories have the ending we hope for, and some predators never face their judgment day. The most chilling part? This kind of story unfolds more often than we'd like to believe, in towns just like Millbrook, behind doors that look just like yours and mine. Because the scariest truths aren't in what we can see, but in what remains hidden, protected by the ordinary facades we never think to question.